and welcome to the Blancpain GT Series Asia. I'm Renai Matu and we are here at Fuji International Speedway in Japan for round 7 and 8 of the championship. The guys are all ready to get out there on the grid today. It's one of these tracks that lots and lots of drivers want to tick off their bucket list. I know they're excited to get out there. Now the GT3 and GT4 categories are both being raced. In GT3, Hunter Abbott leads the championship, very close behind Marchi Lee with 8 points, very tight at the top of the top 3 teams. And in GT4, only 6 points separates the top 3 teams. Something very interesting about GT4, we've only seen the Porsche Cayman so far. This race, we see the Mclaren joining from Clearwater Racing. I'm joined in the commentary booth by David Addison. David, what can we expect from this weekend?
You can expect fierce fights right the way across the order, because GT3 and GT4 both boast their biggest grids yet in the history of Blancpain GT Series Asia. We have 34 cars here this weekend. As you say, we've got the new Mclaren 570S within GT4, but we've got a lot more in GT3 as well, with a number of Japanese teams having a toe in the water, and hopefully we will see more of them either this season or for a full attack next year. Also back, they were at Sepang, are the BMW M6s run by the FIST Team AAI squad. As you look at Richard Wee's McLaren working its way around to the grid, and this, another of the new cars for the weekend, the S-Access Lamborghini that's coming from the Japanese series, and it is Makio Saito who will start in that car. 1 hour races as ever, mandatory pit stops between 25 and 35 minutes, and there is a set pit stop time, 95 seconds for GT3, 130 seconds for GT4, and with, of course, the mandatory driver changes for all but one car, because again, Andrew Haryanto goes solo. There's a lot to look for in both stints, where you've got the relative pace of the two drivers, of course, affecting how the car's pace will be. The sun is shining, finally, but it's been a really mixed week weather-wise. It's very humid outside, and although, as I say, the sun is bursting through finally, we've had a bit of rain this morning. The teams have had quite a bit of rain over the course of the last few days, and it is always an omnipresent threat. So they're all on slicks, of course, but you never know. It might be that we get a bit of rain before the end of the hour. Certainly the forecast is for it to be mixed across the weekend. Pole position has gone the way of Nick Foster with the Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche. As you look down onto the grid, you see the second row there, Kai Cozzolino's yellow Lamborghini, another of the new teams coming into the championship this weekend of Car Guy Racing, and the rest of the field starting to form up in place, but it will be Porsche alongside Audi at the front of the grid. One or two drivers taking the opportunity to do an extra installation lap, come down through the pit lane before they go to the grid itself. Not only do we have 1 hour races, not only do we have the mandatory stops and the class battles, we also have the fight to look for within the different driver categories as well, because we will have not only GT3, but there is the Pro-Am and the Am combinations to reward at the end of the race as well. In GT3, Hunter Abbott does lead the championship. He's had a mix of co-drivers this year. Raffaele Marciello, along with Maxi Buch and Maxi Goetz, have all driven with him. So Hunter Abbott on his own has the advantage by 8 points from Marchi Lee and Sean Tong. Mitch Gilbert, Aditya Patel come next. Let's go to the grid, because with Renai is the architect of GT3 success, Stefan Rattel.
Okay, I'm talking to the man himself. Stefan, we saw you at the beginning of the season and already a full grid, but now a record 34 cars.
Yes, the series is growing fast, and it's really good, and I can see many different manufacturers on the first rows, so it showed the level of competitiveness. I think we had 15 or 16 cars in the same second, so it's going to be a very exciting race, and it's very nice to be here in Japan, and Fuji is an amazing circuit. No, we're very happy.
Incredible circuit to be at. We got lots of Japanese drivers, 5 teams, 13 drivers. I mean, it's great to see the Asian drivers coming through.
Yeah, there is a very good combination and diversity of Asian drivers coming from all Asian countries into the series, and we hope it's going to continue to grow on this basis.
Have a great weekend. Thank you very much, Stefan.
Thank you very much.
Back to you in commentary.
There's Stefan Rattel, strides to the front of the grid to oversee this, as we say, record for Blancpain GT Series Asia grid. 34 cars, might be 33. There's a question mark over one of the Caymans, which was damaged this morning in Q1. The car of Terence Tsay had an off coming out of the early hairpins, but hopefully that car has been glued back together and will be on the grid GT4 becoming ever more competitive, and the fact that you've got McLaren and Porsche and now Mercedes also building cars underlines that finally, after bubbling under for so many years, GT4 now is on its way. But for the front of the grid, Nick Foster sharing with Devon Modell for Craft Bamboo Racing is on pole position in the Porsche, and lining up alongside is Marchi Lee in the Audi Hong Kong entry, number 5, the car that he shares with Sean Tong. And third on the grid is Kai Cozzolino, who's already had a win. He won the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia race, and the Car Guy Racing Lamborghini will line up third on the grid, and Kai Cozzolino will be a man to watch.
Okay, Kai Cozzolino, we've seen you very busy today. You already won a race. What can we expect from you in this one?
I'm only thinking about winning because for Lamborghini, we are the number 1. We have an Audi and a Porsche in front, but I know we are fast. It's just a matter that this is my home track. I'm so confident, even more confident than I was in Suzuka. So I think that the start is going to be the most critical. And once we can get everybody out of the way, I think our race pace is the winning pace. So just the start, all about it.
So we're looking for a really good start. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Back to you in commentary.
Renai, thanks. Kai Cozzolino then, a winner, as I say, in the earlier Lamborghini race, and he could well be a winner in Blancpain as well. He is joined by Naoki Yokimoto in the Car Guy Lamborghini. So it is race 1 of 2 of the weekend here. Let's have a quick look back at race 2 of Suzuka's weekend, where Bruce Jones called the action.
Championship leaders after yesterday's win, Marchi Lee and Sean Thong, waiting for the start, but Alessio Picariello, the silver and blue Audi, kept in the lead of the race as he was challenged by Frankie Cheng in the blue Audi behind Mitch Gilbert on the outside, holding third position. And Maxi Goertz in the Mercedes, 5th through the opening corner, but very soon he moved up. There was a mistake from Picariello in the lead of the race. I thought he might come back across and take out the cars behind Marchi Lee. He wasn't quite sure where to look, but the driver on the move in the early half of the race was Maxi Goertz. Look, out of the S's, and he has the grip, the grunt, and the bravado to go around the outside. Newcomers this weekend, ARN Ferrari, the puncture leading to all sorts of problems. And then it got tighter and tighter at the front of the race. The J-Fly Audi, it is Aditya Patel and Mitch Gilbert right in the mix. They started on the outside of the front row, slick tyres off, treaded tyres on for the charge to the finish. But better than that, it became a charge to the front of the field. In came Alessio Picariello from the lead of the race. Hopped out of the car, seat insert in hand. Jeffrey Lee looked to take over, but once on the track again, the driver on the move was Mitch Gilbert's second driver, his teammate Aditya Patel. Then he got passed by the 999. Hunter Abbott driven Mercedes at this point in the race, but they kept swapping back and forth between them. The Audi went ahead, but then suddenly bodywork rubbing because he'd already had a puncture. Then it blew, wheel arch inserts flashed across the track. The Mercedes trying to snake through the debris, bits falling off the Audi. Victory was theirs to be had, but what a cruel stroke of fortune for them, and into the lead for good goes the crew. Mitch Gilbert having to reach for the dictionary, the thesaurus, that was theirs to lose. Big concern as the race-leading Mercedes came back round the end of the next lap, found the debris, clipped a bit of it, but luckily not sharp enough to give them a puncture. Then Jeffrey Lee doing his utmost to keep second place. He worked so hard. It wasn't to be, but it was victory for the race-leading 999. And certainly Hunter Abbott and Maxi Goertz really deserve the applause. In the closing moments for Sandy Stubing and Nicholas Costa, but the job was done, the 25 points to the Group M Racing crew. And for he and Hunter Abbott, great moments. They'll always remember any victory is good, but one at Suzuka is super special.
And what about a win at Fuji? Well, Hunter Abbott is this weekend reunited with Maxi Book, who he's already had a victory with, and that car will line up on the fourth row of the grid. Now, you're looking down onto a bit of the pit straight, which is 0.9 of a mile long. It is one of the, if not the longest pit straight of any circuits, and it is a part of the track which really illustrates who has got the horsepower, especially as you come onto it from an uphill hairpin as well, where you've got to have the grunt, and it's going to be perhaps ideally suited that to the Mercedes. We will see. Let's go back to the grid. Renai has caught up with the man that starts second, and that is Marchi Lee.
Yes, okay, I just grabbed you before you got in the car. Marchi, you were very happy with qualifying?
Yeah, it was a good one. Almost get it, but Foster was doing a very good job in the end of the lap. So, you know, between us is 1/10 and the others was really close. So hopefully I have a good safe first lap, and then we can get into a fight.
Yes, It's very close and good to be starting at the front. You like the Japanese tracks?
Yes, I mean the Japanese track is very good to me so far, and yeah, you know, for so many years, Fuji always is a very good track.
Okay, so looking for some magic from you today?
I hope so. I think so, and you know, you should go to give some pressure to Sean Tong now, so you know he can do a good job for me.
Okay, Sean, if you're listening, good luck today. Back to you, David, in commentary.
And I thank Sean Tong. Then will do the second stint in the Audi Hong Kong entered R8. It's run by the Phoenix team, the German squad, Lance Moser's team. It's based just a stone's throw away from the Nordschleife, and Sean Tong does the second part of the race, and then we'll start tomorrow. Another car that's going to be worth watching lines up fourth on the grid, number 38, the Spirit of Race Ferrari of Rino Mastronardi and Rui Aguas. Now, they've had a win, of course, already this season as well, a surprise win, but it was a win, and it came in the first race in Thailand at Buriram, and Rino Mastronardi part of the Blancpain GT Series Endurance Cup AM class contingent, and could well we want to watch here starting from fourth on the grid. In GT4 we have Mclaren on the grid this weekend. One of the drivers is Mok Weng Sun, and he is on the grid with Renai.
Okay, Weng, it's a pleasure to be talking to you. Now, you're going to be racing in GT3 with a brand new car to the championship.
Yeah, it's a McLaren 570 SGT4. So thankful for our sponsors for putting this together. The car is like freshly minted out of the UK. They finished the build in late July, got on a plane on August 8th and made its way over here. So we're really happy to be able to have the opportunity to test out the car. So far, so good.
So far, so good. And it looks incredible. I love the livery on it. What can you tell me about this track and your experience on it? Do you like this track?
Oh, I love racing in Japan in general and at Fuji circuit in particular. I've done a lot of races here over the years, and it's one of my favorite circuits. My home circuit is actually Sepang, but I probably do more races at Fuji than back home at Sepang. So it's familiar grounds, brand new car, brand new series, and look at the series, it's incredible. To have 34 cars of this caliber, it's well, I've never seen the likes of it in Asia previously. So happy to be back in Asia. I've been spending most of the season racing in Europe, so it's good to be back on kind of home ground.
We're really lucky to have you. Can't wait to see how it goes today. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
All right, back to you, David, in commentary.
Mok Weng Sun, who's been part of the European Le Mans series this year, raced at Le Mans in the 24 hours, but yes, it is good to have him back. And he and Richard Wee, who also drove at Le Mans this year, share the Clearwater Racing McLaren. If you remember back at the start of the season, Richard Wee had a GT3 McLaren, the 650, and it was badly damaged in the start line accident in the first round, which put him out for the rest of the weekend, and we haven't seen him nor that car since, and he's elected to come back into the championship, but with perhaps a car that's a bit user-friendly in comparison, or more user-friendly, the GT4 car. What it does mean, sadly, is we're deprived of the chance of seeing Rob Bell in action. But we have got Richard Wee and we have got McLaren represented, one of 8 brands on the grid. There is the Rino Mastronardi Rui Aguas Ferrari one to watch, and the Japanese flags proudly fly as we get ready for this 7th round of the Blancpain GT Series Asia. We've had some great racing thus far. We've got the biggest grid yet, and this should lend itself to a spectacular race. There is 38, which will be started by Rino Mastronardi. He knows about Ferraris from not just this championship, but also the Blancpain GT Series Endurance Cup over in Europe, and that car run by Spirit of Race, which is an offshoot of Amato Ferrari's hugely successful AF Corsa squad, shared with Rui Aguas, that car. The circuit has this very long, nearly a mile long pit straight down to a tight hairpin at first, as the corner is called. There's a kink at turn 2. In the green sector, the middle sector, that long sweeping right is the infamous 100R, which takes you down to the hairpin, and then you start sector 3 with a tight right at Dunlop. Then there's a little chicane, short straight, and a sequence of hairpins, the last of which, Panasonic, brings you back uphill onto that pit straight. So get it wrong there and you are a sitting duck up towards the timing line. We have 3 minutes to go to the start. The race director was very keen in the earlier Lamborghini Super Trofeo race about everybody being lined up properly at the start, and we had 2 aborted starts and therefore 2 extra formation laps while they all got themselves in the right place. So we'll wait and see whether or not that's going to be an issue for this race. There's 66 Lamborghini, which is Martin Kodrich back with Sandy Stuvik for this weekend, and that car, by dint of finishing second last time out, gets an extra 7 seconds on the pit stop. The winning Mercedes gets 10, and the third placed Audi of Jeffrey Lee and his co-driver for the weekend, which is Alessio Picarillo, that gets 5 seconds extra in the pits. The top 3 carry the extra time in the mandatory pit stop for the next race. It works well in British GT, and it's a regulation carried over into Blancpain GT Series Asia as well. The pit stop time that everybody must adhere to, the minimum, is 95 seconds in GT3 before you put these penalties on, and 130 in GT4. Why is it so much longer in GT4? Because the Porsche, the Cayman, has 5 wheel studs and a McLaren only has 1, and if you needed to change a tyre in a pit stop, it becomes very unfair against a car that can do it so much more rapidly. And so that's the reason why, to try and equate that, should you need a tyre change, the extra time is given. So very shortly, the cars will be released. The only other quirk to the pit stop times, by the way, is Andrew Harrianto. Because he goes solo, he's got to be in the pits for 100 seconds, not 95, even though he's in the GT3 car. So the grid is just about cleared. And are we going to see another Group M Mercedes win for Hunter Abbott, or are we going to see him bank points? Are we going to have another different winning driver combination, or indeed brand to take a win? Because so far we've had victories for Mercedes, for Audi and for Ferrari. Haven't had a Porsche, haven't had a Lamborghini yet. Maybe that's going to change in the next hour and a little bit, because the field is now released onto the green flag lap, the final formation lap to get warmth into the tyres. They will form back up on the pit straight, ready for the start of the race, and the rolling start then will commence. So it's up to Nick Foster as the pole man to control the pace once the safety car peels in. He lines up alongside number 5, Marchi Lee, Porsche and Audi at the front. The second row of the grid is Lamborghini and Ferrari, Kai Cozzolino alongside Rino Mastronardi, and then you've got the Porsche of Naoya Yamano and Martin Kodrich in the Lamborghini. Row 4 is the Mercedes of the championship leader, Hunter Abbott, number 999, and lining up alongside him is the sister car of team principal Tim Sugden in 888. The fifth row of the grid is where you find 86, Aditya Patel's Audi, and 37, Anthony Liu, who's had 1 win this year, Anthony Liu, with Davide Rizzo back at Sepang. The sixth row is Xinjiang, Spirit of Race Ferrari, and Hiroaki Nagai with the ARN Ferrari. The seventh row of the grid, number 1, Lamborghini, Alberto Di Folco, number 7, Audi, Jeffrey Lee. The eighth row is number 47, Satoshi Ashino, and number 6, Audi of Alex Au, ahead of Jesse Krohn with the BMW, Jesse Suki Kuonyo to give him his real name, and Peter Lee in the Porsche alongside. Then it's Andrew Harrianto and Naota Takeda, ahead of Rick Yun and Philip Ma in number 98, the Arrows Racing Porsche. On the 12th row, 69 is the Aston Martin, returning to the championship to start 23rd with James Kai at the wheel. And then it is Makio Saito in the number 390 S-Access Racing Lamborghini, ahead of Junsan Chen's BMW, and Gregory Tio in number 75, which is the next of the Ferraris on the grid. Jingzhu Sun, number 13, and Junzan Zhu with the Lamborghini come next, ahead of Richard Wee and Kyo Chang. McLaren alongside Porsche, ahead of Frank Yu and Kan Zhang, Porsches both. And the back row should be Terence Tsay and Byron Tong, again in Porsche Caymans. That then is how the grid should line up. And they will get themselves in a moment into the rolling start formation, ready for 60 minutes of racing for round 7 of the Blancpain GT Series Asia. It is a mouth-watering grid, not only in terms of the brands represented, but the CVs of the drivers. And what's also fascinating about this championship is it's a real eye-opener for people that have only followed European GT racing, be them teams, media, drivers as well, to suddenly have to go toe-to-toe with those from the Asian world of motor racing and discovering just how competitive they are. And around here, on a circuit they know better than the Europeans, this is going to be quite some battle. The cars get themselves in the 2x2 formation for the rolling start. If the race director is happy, then he will give the signal. He wants them all lined up in 2 columns, nobody jinking out to the left or to the right, trying to gain that advantage. It is up to Nick Foster, the pole position driver, then to control the pace. If the race director is happy, then the lights will change and the race, round 7 of the Blancpain GT Series Asia, will be underway, and an extra formation lap is called. Another formation lap. This was what I was fearing, because it happened earlier on in the day in the Lamborghini race. The clock starts. This is exactly what we had earlier on in the day. So the yellow flags stay, the lights remain on red, and look, some drivers accelerate away anyway because that's instinct. The problem about being boxed up behind like that is you can't see the lights or the flags anyway. You're focused on the rear wing of the car ahead. So it actually creates, in some respects, more danger. But the net result is that the race has started, but we are not under race conditions. We are still behind the safety car, and we are still looking at another formation lap. So the race has started in as much as we are within the 1 hour, but no overtaking is permitted, and everybody has to jink around and get themselves back into formation. So the cars accelerate up towards the 100R, this long swooping right-hander. We did have extra formation laps in earlier rounds, for example, just to help with the tyre temperatures. Whether that is in the line of the race director, I couldn't vouchsafe. But the field will come around once more, and then we will be hopefully good to go. But this counts within the hour, and if you've got your quicker driver in first to try and build up an advantage, you're soon on the back foot, because the amount of race time you get within the first stint is being diminished. Here you can see Ferrari, Audi, Lamborghini, Porsche working forward on the grid, and so they get themselves this time in formation. You'll see that one or two of the GT4 cars are straggling already. GT4 is becoming, finally, after years of threatening to break through, becoming a very, very popular class. And talk in the UK next year, having one or two standalone events for the GT4 field, because that is going from strength to strength. But even so, a GT3 car is a mighty sight, and it's good here that you've got Porsche at the very front, the Craft Bamboo racing team, taking up the cudgels really, because Porsche's not that numerous in European Blancpain events, but it's good that we have them not only here but competitive as well with another of the Porsches, the car of the Porsche team EBI on the third row. Right, are we good this time around? The field trickling its way out of turn 16, Panasonic. Well, this will have cost us about 3 minutes by the time we get up to the line. If the race director is happy, then he will let them go. You can see one of the BMWs has dropped back a little bit, but as long as you haven't got people darting left or right, then we should be okay. That looks fairly tidy, doesn't it? So to the line they come, and are we going to be good for a start to get the race underway? They've done a lap unofficially, and we do go green. The race is go, and a good start is going to be made from the outside of the front row then there by Marchini to try to get his nose in front of Nick Foster in the Porsche as they dive down towards first for the first time. But round the outside of all of them comes Rino Mastronardi, but then he runs out of road. They're 3 wide for second place. The Porsche gets muscled out wide. Nick Foster is off the road, and that's going to change the whole complexion of the order, because Nick Foster's Porsche finds all the dirt and the water and everything on the outside of the road. So Kai Cozzolino leads the way, and it is going to be a Lamborghini 1-2 as they sweep through for the first time. 66 goes second, then Martin Kodrich in the Vincenzo Sospiri car, and then third is Hunter Abbott in 999 Mercedes, trying to gain track position, and right up with him as well now in the white Porsche number 3 look is Naoya Yamada, who goes round the outside there to try and get himself up ahead of the next of the Lamborghinis, and just gets his nose in front. But Cozzolino, having had a win already in the Lamborghini race earlier, is away and gone, benefiting from that 3 wide situation into the first corner that was never going to work. And not only out of all of that has Nick Foster dropped back, he's got a whole intake of grass at the front of the car, which is going to make the car overheat. The other one, Rino Mastronardi, lost ground in that as well. So you've got 2 of the big scalps here with work to do as the cars work their way up towards the end of lap number 1, heading uphill. And is that a car with damage? Does Marchi Lee's Audi possibly have some front damage? Has it got a puncture? The Aston Martin goes off the road, and Hunter Abbott goes off the road as well, coming uphill, hidden behind them, banking for a moment. He's back on the circuit. So big drama, corner by corner by corner, and the order is very jumbled indeed at the end of lap 1, which will be led over the timing line by Kai Cozzolino in the number 777 Lamborghini. The car guy racing car leads. There it is, the bright yellow highlighter pan up the road ahead. In second place coming through should be the Lamborghini of Martin Kodrich. Then it's the Porsche of Yamano. 4th is Alberto Di Folco in number 1 Lamborghini. 5th is Hunter Abbott. 6th now in 37 is Anthony Liu, and then for 7th place it is Satoshi Nagai. 8th is Jesse Crow. 9th is Nick Foster, and 10th is Tim Sugden as the cars turn through turn 1. So let's have another look at what kicked off at the start. We had Hunter Abbott running a little bit wide coming up the hill, ran out of road, and there he is getting back on, and behind, look, spinning Audi, that is Aditya Patel. Everybody darts around him, but that made the circuit very narrow indeed on the inside. Right, 37 here, Anthony Liu ahead of 999 of Hunter Abbott as the cars thread their way into turn 8. Up towards Dunlop. Hunter Abbott goes to the outside of the Audi there. Winners at the start of the year, Lou and Rizzo in the Ferrari. Crashed that, came back with an Audi and keeping the Mercedes at bay. Hunter Abbott kicking himself for running wide and losing ground and losing track position. The championship leader then is on a mission, Maxi Book to take over. And Hunter Abbott, former British GT racer, British touring car racer, coming back into GT racing this year and going very strongly indeed. Championship leader, which perhaps not many people would have predicted pre-season. So up towards the end of the lap, Kai Costolino led at the end of lap 2, the first proper racing lap, by 1.7 seconds, helped by all the dramas going on at first. The first corner on the lap, as here over the timing line shortly will come Anthony Luke with Hunter Abbott behind him. This the change to 5th place we've had on the lap, but there is the leading car. Kai Costolino goes through. And already we've got people in the pit lane, one of which with damage is Rino Mastronardi's Ferrari. There's another of the Ferraris in the background, which might well be the Max Weiser car, which is on pole for race 2. So there, now upholding Porsche honour, is number 3, which is Naoya Yamano. And he, in turn, has got Alberto Di Folco behind him, and they're starting to inch up onto the back of Martin Kodric. So Naoya Yamano comes down now towards Coca-Cola, turn 3. This is a car that's very much a Japanese team, and how much more we'll see of it this season remains to be seen. That car, by dint of being a first-time entrant, gets an extra 7 seconds pit stop penalty. So it's going to have to fight for a decent result in this race with so many other competitive cars around. So Marchi Lee did pit, did have damage, possibly even a puncture, because the car did seem to sit low when we got that shot of it. Aditya Patel, after his spin, is in 21st place. And here is Cozzolino, who turns then now into Dunlop through the right, then the left on the right chicane of 11 and 12, down towards 13th as the corner is called. But Kai Cozzolino breaking away from the rest of them. He led at the end of lap 3 by 1.6 seconds. Martin Kodric going after him. Kodric, the very rapid ex-single-seater racer who's come into GT racing via the Lamborghini Super Trofeo that drove in Formula Renault NEC and the Toyota Racing Series prior to that. He's had a couple of 8th places this year, Martin Kodric, as his best results. As here, up towards the timing line, comes the leader. Kai Cozzolino will go through. Kodric chasing after him. And is that gap coming down? Let's see. It was 1.6 seconds last time. The leaders come by, and 1.6 is now 2 seconds. So, in other words, Cozzolino is getting away. There's the Aston Martin of James Kye back on track. After its little skirmish earlier on, the Aston Martin Vantage making a welcome return to the championship as the leaders dive down towards turn 1. There's 37, Anthony Liu in 5th place. The fastest lap of the race is now being done by the Porsche 88 of Nick Foster, recovering after being forced to go rally crossing at the start. Nick Foster is into 7th place, having started on pole position. But when we got the race underway proper, he was either slow away or didn't have the pace in a straight line of the others, and so was in jeopardy at the first corner, and having lost places, he's now trying to fight back. One or two nervous teams looking on in the pit bunkers, as there is the 37 Audi then running 5th, Anthony Liu. GT4 at the moment is being led by the McLaren. I tell you, the way that car's going, it's going to mop up this weekend, because 2 pole positions and a race lead already. Richard Wee at the wheel of it and going strongly. The Clearwater Racing McLaren outpacing the Porsches, which come pouring across the line here. Good little battle there, not to be last. That is between Kan Zhang and Byron Tong, and it is 89 that goes ahead then. So that is Kan Zhang at the moment. So a good little fight going on. The Porsche came in. It's a good shape, actually. It's a nice looking car, that. And there you've got the championship leader Hunter Abbott pushing on. So Abbott currently running in 6th place as he works his way out of Panasonic, but he's under pressure, look, because there right behind him is the man that started on pole position, Nick Foster. Nick did the fastest lap of the race last time through, and is he going to be able to make a move? Let's see as the leaders come by. Kai Cozzolino goes through, being chased by Martin Kodric. Vincenzo Sospiri there with his spectacles on, looking down the pit straight to see his car of Kodric in 2nd place. Yamano is 3rd, under attack from Di Folco, and then it is Liu, Abbott, Foster, Nagai, Krohn and Tim Sugden rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Martin Kodric heading downhill, and as the race leaders currently work lap 6, is Kodric closing. He's not, in fairness. The gap went up last time, and it's also extending in the sectors. In 3rd place, he's number 3 of Naoya Yamano. He will give way to Yuya Sakamoto when we get to the pit window. But for now, Naoya Yamano, a regular in the Asian touring car scene, a runner-up in Carrera Cup Japan a couple of years ago, hangs on to that third place. A real Porsche expert is Yamano. Behind him he's got Alberto Di Folco's Lamborghini, and then fifth is the very distinctive Audi, the red and yellow car in the hands of Anthony Liu, with Hunter Abbott trying to hang on to his sixth place. So the leaders are on lap number 6, and Kai Cozzolino is getting away all the time, but the real question mark there is the leading car is going to be over the pace of Naoki Yokomitsu, and to see how quick he is going to be in the second stint. So Cozzolino here is going to try and push, build up the advantage, and then see what the second driver is going to be able to do in that final part of the race. Over the timing line then will come Cozzolino now. Goes through. There is Cozzolino then at the head of the pack. Last time he was 2.7 seconds ahead, now it's up to 3 seconds, so he's getting away. In third place still, looking strong, is Yamano in the Porsche, and we've had the change for sixth. If you look in the background, there is the Porsche. Nick Foster has gone ahead of Hunter Abbott, who's about to be attacked, look, by Nagai in the Ferrari, who goes through, brakes way too late at the end of the pit straight, runs out wide, and so number 28, the ARN Racing Ferrari of Hiroaki Nagai, up one and down one in quick succession, gets past the Mercedes, couldn't stop in time, runs out wide, and Hunter Abbott goes through, picks up the place once more. So the race currently is on lap number 7, and Nick Foster, the pole man, fighting back. He's done the fastest lap of the race now. There's Hunter Abbott, who wants to keep the car in contention, needs to keep the car in contention, but is also mindful that some of the hard work can be done in the second stint by Maximilian Buch, very experienced GT and very successful GT racer in Europe. The Mercedes then heading down to Dunlop, being chased by the Ferrari number 28. Hiroaki Nagai brakes late going into Dunlop, closes the gap a little bit to Hunter Abbott in the Mercedes here. Uphill they climb. This is turn 13. And then 14 and 15 linked together to make the corner known as nets. Keep on climbing. That's where Hunter Abbott went off earlier on in the race. And then you're uphill towards Panasonic, the final corner on the lap. The teams on the pit wall studying all the data, looking at the pictures, trying to assess the pace of their car relative to those that are around it. Now, remember, of those that will get an extra pit stop penalty time, 66 is a car that will get 7 seconds, so it's 3.4 seconds away from the leader now. In real terms, it's over 10, isn't it, by the time you apply the penalty, which you'll have to serve in the pit stop. Further back, Tim Sugden having a go to get past Jesse Krohn, and that's Hunter Abbott getting it a little bit wrong at the first corner, and that lets Nagai get up and past him. The Ferrari goes through, and that's the change for 7th place. If you brake late and run wide at the first hairpin, then you're in all sorts of strife. Sometimes you can pull it back, not always. Nagai goes through. Race order on the screen as you look at Aditya Patel trying to fight back in 86 Audi up the inside. And he goes through, getting himself now up ahead of 75, which he started in the first race of the weekend by Gregory Teo. David Chipchap Montaro will drive tomorrow's opening stint. And that Ferrari might have a problem because Patel has sauntered past him, and now Gregory Teo is slowing a little bit, and he's being reeled in by the number 7 Jeffrey Lee Audi, which is another one delayed early on. There is number 7, which will dive up the inside into the hairpin and get the job done. The Audi Taiwan entry goes through, and Jeffrey Lee starts to pull away. Road climbing uphill a little bit, and then you drop over the brow down towards Dunlop. Gilbert and others watching on in the pit bunker as Jeffrey Lee tries to get away from Gregory Teo now. 45 minutes of the race still to run, so we're at the end of the first 15 minutes, first quarter of the race gone, and number 7 Audi then pushing up now into 17th place. It's a very competitive entry, so some of the leading runners find themselves further back on the grid than they would like to be, but it's no real shame given how tough a championship this has become in a short space of time. To the timing line here comes number 7 Audi. Further up the road, you've got number 69 Aston Martin there. That's a lap down, that car of James Kye, after running wide early on in the race. Behind is the BMW number 90 that comes through and dives up the inside and gains track position then ahead of the back marker. Yun-San Chen at the wheel of the BMW, which ran in the invitation class at the start of the year but has now signed up fully, if you like, to being a GT3 entry. Gets an extra 7 seconds of pit stop penalty for being a first-time entrant within GT3, but it's good to have the team on the grid. BMW, a car that has proved its capability in international GT racing, winning the Spa 24 Hours last year, for example, in the Rover Racing team's hands. But the BMW trying to get away for another 69. James Kai gets out of the way of the quicker Audi that goes through. Aditya Patel on a mission after that spin early on. And of course they came so close, he and Mitch Gilbert, to a second win of the season at Suzuka before the punctured tyre and the ensuing damage. So the Indian driver, former Volkswagen champion back home, trying to get himself back into the mix here. The OD Racing team entry that Aditya Patel shares with the Malaysian-born Australian Mitch Gilbert, and they're on their way for the 10th time up towards Panasonic. The race leader is Kai Cozzolino now by 4.4 seconds. Still Nick Foster is pushing on. He is lapping quicker than everybody ahead of him at the moment, so Nick Foster is 8.6 seconds back from Cozzolino, but the other question mark I would propose is how he is going to fare, or that car is going to fare, once Devon Modell, the other driver, gets behind the wheel, because Devon wasn't as quick as Nick Foster in qualifying, so he's going to have some work to do. Yun-San Chen goes through. That car currently running number 90 in 15th place. In the second session, Devon Modell was 18th in GT3, so it does suggest there's a disparity of pace. As in comes number 69, so James Kai heads for the pit lane, and is that an insurmountable problem? We also have a report of contact between number 2, Zhu Zhongdan, and number 18, which is the Rick Yoon Audi. That's being investigated at the moment by the stewards. As you look at number 90, still in 15th place here. So the BMW accelerating up the hill as another car heads for the pit lane. Number 19 showing damage. That is Naota Takeda in the Audi. That looks like either a puncture and or bodywork against tyre, doesn't it? Down the pit lane he comes. And this, of course, not a scheduled pit stop, not within the pit window. It is a puncture, isn't it? Yes. And is that because he's been off, or is that because we're now going to start to see a whole rash of tyre failures? I hope it's not that. I don't think it will be. The Pirelli tyres are good. It's a durable tyre. It's one the teams know how to work around. But it could be that the Audi just ran wide and picked up a little bit of debris, and that's what's caused that tyre issue. In and amongst the Porsche traffic now is Kai Cozzolino. A very successful visit, it seems, thus far, at least, to Fuji. And the car guy, Lamborghini, and he really does specialise in these cars these days. Cozzolino leading the way. He came into the Lamborghini Super Trofeo a couple of seasons back, having raced in Japan in Formula Challenge. He raced in the Macau Grand Prix. He's raced in the Japanese Formula 3 Championship, in Formula Nippon. He's also racing these days in the Asian Le Mans Series within GT, so he knows all about these sorts of cars. And it's going to be Naoki Yokomitsu that will do the second stint in the car. So the Car Guy Racing team, a late addition to the Blancpain GT Series Asia this year, but a very successful one and a very positive inclusion in the championship. We're getting a bit of shuffling lower down the order. Alex Au is up to 13th at the expense of Andrew Haryanto. Aditya Patel is up into 15th place as we'd seen. And GT4 is still being led by Richard Wee in the McLaren. The battle for second and third is starting to creep into the mix. There it is, because you've got the Porsche here of Yamano on the back of Martin Kodrich and the Lamborghini. Naoya Yamano closing all the time. And then look further down, Alex Au here, 13th ahead of Andrew Haryanto. So 13th and 14th run together with Aditya Patel, not that far behind them, starting to close that margin down. A little bit loose up the curb there goes Alex Au. That's the car that he shares with Alex Young, who put it on pole position at Sepang at the start of the season. And number 19 limps on. That is Naota Takeda's car. I thought we'd seen that come into the pits once. Is that a second puncture? Well, anyway, Takeda still limped, but I was convinced we'd seen that come down the pit road. Through the traffic works Darrell O'Young's Porsche. That car, number 99, we've got Peter Lee at the wheel of it for this first stint. And we're now having a report of contact between number 98, which is Philip Maher's Porsche, and 390, the S-Access racing car of Makio Saito. So the race officials having a look at all of these little bits of contact, either from the live feed pictures or the circuit's cameras, and trying to piece together whether anybody's at fault, whether it's a racing incident, and whether anything needs doing. Getting Alex Al through there ahead of 27, which is Andrew Harrianto. And 38 minutes remain, so the pit window is not far from opening then now as the cars sprint down towards Dunlop. There is Harrianto, driving solo, so he ends up with a longer pit stop time. His planned co-driver for the year, Vincent Wong, hurt himself in an incident at Sepang at the start of the weekend for the opening round, and we have not had him return to the circuit since. Now that was the replay of number 19 arriving in. Was that the first or the second time? 98 is recovering with some damage. That's Philip Maher. This is 99, which is Peter Lee, the ex-Formula 3 driver in the European Championship. And that graphic you just seen indicating as well that Rino Mastronardi is going no further after his good start, but putting himself on the outside line and then in the contact right at the start of the race. In the background of the shot, you see the Clearwater Racing McLaren, Richard Wee at the wheel of it, and ahead of him, 8th and 9th overall, Hunter Abbott and Tim Sugden. Tim has effectively reformed Group M over the winter and put a huge amount of effort into getting not only a team together, but a two-car assault and Mercedes factory blessing, hence the likes of Raffaele Marciello and Maxi Gert and Maxi Boot coming along to help with driving duties. Tim shares with Jules Kowiak, who won the Sean Edwards Award at the end of last year's GT season, which is to illustrate young aspiring talent. He's another ex-Formula 3 driver. And Tim, a real old hand at this, 4th at Le Mans in the late 1990s, 1998, in the days when he shared with the late Steve O'Rourke in the MK McLaren with Bill Oberlin. He's been a factory driver in touring car racing. He's been a race winner in historics, runs a management company looking after a number of drivers in the BTCC and British GT and Blancpain in one-make championships. So he's a very busy man, but still loves his racing, and he's still as competitive as ever. In the pit lane, though, there are a number of rather frustrated drivers with damage putting them out of the race. The leader through, and with the pit window opening at the end of this next lap, Kai Costolino has an advantage over Martin Kodrich now of 6 seconds. Third is Yamano in the Porsche, and behind Yamano is Alberto Di Folco, number 1 Lamborghini. Then it is Anthony Liu in number 37, and Nick Foster, still having done the fastest lap of the race, running in the top 6 now. Number 3 Porsche accelerating its way up now towards 100R. Lower down the order, you've got Nick Foster in the Porsche getting onto the tail of Anthony Liu. This is the fight for 5th place now. And just up the road ahead is Alberto Di Folco, who's fallen away from the number 3 Yamano Porsche. So Lamborghini from Audi from Porsche, 4th, 5th and 6th. And lower down here is the battle for 16th. Yunsan Chen versus Jeffrey Lee, BMW against Audi. The Audi is on a mission, isn't it, as it comes downhill. And Jeffrey Lee, who started 14th on the grid, makes a move. Was committed to that. Yunsan Chen tried to turn in, realised there was a car alongside and very quickly backed out of it, which was a good job because otherwise there would have been contact. They survived, but the BMW drops a spot and Jeffrey Lee goes then up now into 16th place. Of course, he also lost ground at the start of the race, but he's fighting back. The pit window is open, so are we going to see anybody in right at the word go? If you've got your slower driver in first, then the answer will be yes. Get him out of the way. You want to maximise the time the faster driver spends in the car, and here we have had a pitter. Number 2 is in. And also, I think Martin Kodrich is in the pit lane. Yes, he is, out of second place. So in comes number 2 for Zhu Zhongzhan to give way to Lin Yu, but also from second place, Martin Kodrich in to give way to Sandy Stuvik. Now, don't forget, they get an extra 7 seconds in the pits. Number 17, Porsche, is currently 3rd in GT4. And this is the car that has got Kyo Chang at the wheel. They've got the Taiwan Top Speed Racing Team and Grupper M. They're both in at the same time. So Hunter Abbott gives way in 999 to Maximilian Buch. Tim Sugden in 888. Wriggles clear and will give way to Jules Szymkowiak, the Dutch driver. And there are more pouring into the pit lane as well. Jeffrey Lee is in and Zhongzhan Chen is in out of 16th and 17th places now. So the Mercedes get the British drivers out, they get the young guns for hire in, and let's see how those 2 cars fight back. Remember that number 999 has to sit there for an extra 10 seconds, and interestingly they're doing tyre changes on some of the cars. You don't have to, it's not a regulation, but a number of the teams electing to do that and get fresher rubber on. Well, certainly we saw it on the 999 Mercedes. That was a car that ran off the road, of course, early on in the race. 390 is Saito at the wheel of the S-Access car, and that currently is in 19th place. Anybody else for tyres? Yeah, looks like number 7 Audi will. They were there, but I think number 7 may have elected not to run them after all. The tyres brought out, and they are there ready if the driver calls for them and if the team have a sight of a reason to put new rubber on the car. There is 888 then. That's now Jules Szymkowiak, who goes ahead of the sister car because that's going to be delayed in the pit lane. And that drops Szymkowiak behind Jeffrey Liu. So the order now during this window is going to shuffle all the time. The race leader is 777 as you look at into the pits, 28 Ferrari. Hiroaki Nagai to give way to Kota Sasaki in the Ferrari 488 of ARN Racing. So the driver change completed. Again, engineers have a look at tyre pressures, have a look at the condition of the tyre and then make a call. You don't refuel either because regulations don't permit in a 1 hour race for you to do that. You have to go the whole way. So the fuel load comes down and therefore the lap times increase right towards the end if the tyres are fresh enough to cope. 86 is in as well in the background. Look at Aditya Patel. This is the leading car. It is still 777 Kai Cozzolino at the wheel. And he works now uphill once again. So the advantage now over the Yamano Porsche is 7 seconds. Does Cozzolino come in this time and give way to Naoki Yokomitsu? He does. He's the correct side of the white line, so the leader is in almost at the halfway point. Down the pit road comes Cozzolino then now. Gets to the pit-in line, slows the speed, which is 60 kilometres an hour. Down the pit road comes the leader then, and he arrives up behind number 5, where Sean Tong is taking over from Marchi Lee in the car that was second on the grid. It had got back to 14th place after the skirmish at the first lap, but it still left Sean Tong with a lot of work to do. Headlights on, the Audi ready to blast away. That's the Audi Hong Kong entry. As you look at more drama out on track, where Nick Foster now, number 88, is still pushing hard. He has got himself onto the back of Alberto De Falco, and De Falco in the Lamborghini hangs on to the place here as they come down to the hairpin, and they're both catching Yamano once again, and also going with them is 37, except he runs wide there. That is Anthony Liu. He's got to get around the outside of the GT4 pack. He's got the 28 Sasaki Porsche back out after its stop. He's got Jules Szymkowiak there as well. So great battles go on, and Szymkowiak is the one that commits to the outside line down towards Dunlop, trying to get ahead of the Ferrari, which he does. Can he get past the Audi as well? No. Does he get boxed in? Yes. Round the outside comes the Ferrari. They touch, and Sasaki gets run onto the grass there. He drops back behind the Mercedes. Uphill they come now. This is the run up the hill through Nets and then on towards Panasonic. So more and more cycle through, including the leader. So Now you can see in the background as out comes Mok Weng Sun, also out comes 777. You've got the two leaders there, the GT4 and the GT3 leader together, and now it is up to Naoki Okamitsu to get on with the job and maintain this lead that he has been given. Nick Foster is closer, but he's got to stop yet and give way to Devon Modell, and I fear that car's going to fall down the pecking order. So there is the Lamborghini that will get itself back into the lead of the race. Now we've got another car under investigation. He's number 13, now Frankie Cheng at the wheel for speeding in the pit lane. The S-Access Lamborghini is in, and also in the background Anthony Liu to give way to Davide Rizzo. They won at Sepang in the second round of the championship, where Anthony Liu proved to be very, very quick indeed. Davide Rizzo did the opening stint in the second race, didn't really sparkle, but when Liu got into the car, it absolutely flew. It was very impressive indeed. There is Szymkowiak then, who is now ahead on the road of the 28 Ferrari. So Sasaki, Kota Sasaki drops back behind Jules Szymkowiak, 28.5 minutes on the clock still. Out of Dunlop they come, back onto the gas now, heading into that sequence of hairpins where you've got to be so precise and don't lose momentum on that climb up the hill. So with half the race just about still to go, we've got a new fastest lap. Alessio Picariello has now gone the fastest in the race, and the number 7 Audi, he's taken over from Jeffrey Lee. So Alessio Picariello, 1:42.531, quicker than the earlier best of Nick Foster. So Picariello running 19th, but he will gain ground surely, as there, being squeezed out of the way a little bit, is the 89 Porsche. So that car started by Kan Zhang and now given to Ringo Chong. The 99 Porsche up towards the line. Darrell Young at the wheel of it, trying to keep Alex Young at bay. Young and Young through together. The Canadian Hong Kong driver Darrell Young, who's a hugely experienced competitor. He's driven in GT cars on and off for decades, it feels like, but has had a brief spell in the World Touring Car Championship and has done a huge amount of racing in different categories around the world. He's the 2015 GT Asia champion. Started off in Canada in Formula Ford 1600s and Formula Ford 2000s, but having won Carrera Cup Asia, he's raced in the FIA GT Championship. He's won the Bathurst 12 Hours a couple of times, 2011, 2012. Very experienced man indeed. Now their number 3 is the race leader at the moment, but yet to make a pit stop. So this car, with Naoya Yamano at the wheel, will give way to Yuya Sakamoto, who raced in British Formula Ford and Formula Vauxhall Junior 2 decades or so ago. And that leads the way ahead of Anthony Liu, which is now number 37. That's got Davide Rizzo at the wheel, hasn't it? So that's running second on the road, but he's actually a lap down after the pit stop. And then it's going to be Nick Foster behind, who's really in second place. So it's a Porsche 1-2, but because they've yet to serve the pit stops, if this continues to make sense. Everybody out of sequence, and a pit stop is not far off a lap time. So 1:35 for your average pit stop and 1:42 for a lap. There's Alex Young, the former Formula 1 driver, the Malaysian driver, pushing on. He's got himself up past Darrell Young now and strives to gain another place as the 2 leading cars come into the pit lane. So the Porsches are in, Yamano and Foster both in together. Devon Modell will take over the second of those 2 cars, and the leading car, Yuya Sakamoto, will get behind the wheel of number 3. Down the pit lane they come. Sakamoto, who in 1998 was part of the Formula Vauxhall Junior brigade in the UK, that raced at British Touring Car Championship meetings, and there he is, ready to get on board. And that car does go for new boots, interestingly. If you've got the time to do it, then why not within the 95 seconds? Only 2 mechanics allowed to do the tyre changes, so you've got to be fit and you've got to be well trained here. Say, with all due deference to the team, I've seen faster pit stops, but knowing that the car can't go until 95 seconds are up, by go I mean leave the pit, they can afford to take their time. Now the pit window has closed. As long as you're in before the window closes, then that is fine, but if you're not in now, then a penalty will come. Everybody has been in as far as I know, and Maximilian Buch in number 999 Mercedes is now the fastest man on the circuit. So Buch, taking over from Hunter Abbott, is the quickest man on track. He runs 10th and he will gain more places before the end, surely. As you look at number 69 now, the Aston Martin, Kenneth Lim at the wheel of it. There's 37, Davide Rizzo, who is in 5th spot, but that's about to become 3rd because he should get ahead of the Porsches on the pit stop provisionally. Both Yamano now, Sakamoto and Devon Modell are shown as still being in the pit lane. So let's just double check as the leaders come over the line. Oh, the 2 Porsches ready to go. Out goes Devon Modell. And now into the race goes Sakamoto. So they will have switched order. And there, look, Shimkowiak tries to get up the inside of the traffic. Also in this mix, number 47 there, Saiji Ara, the former Le Mans winner. He's taken over from Satoshi Hoshino in the number 47 Porsche. Another great-looking car, that. So many different liveries with the different way of attacking colour schemes in this part of the world. Shimkowiak has got Sasaki up behind him. There is Saiji Ara in the number 47 Porsche, the car run by the D-Station Racing Squad. And Saiji Ara, Audi winner at Le Mans with Tom Christensen, sets off now in pursuit of number 3 Porsche. So that is where Sakamoto has rejoined. So the order I'll give you at the end of this lap, because now that everybody has served the pit stops, it's going to look very jumbled indeed, but it should give us Yokomitsu in the lead ahead of Sandy Stuvik by nearly 10 seconds. Maxi Book 999 has arrived in an emergency on the back of the Porsches here, looking to try to find a way through as they sprint their way up the hill here. Danger now is that you're not only racing against people that have joined slightly out of sequence after a pit stop, but you've got traffic around you as well. Number 6 back into the pit lane, that's Alex Young. Now they were 15, but this is a problem. So Alex Young comes in and the car is going to have to go to its pit box by the look of it. So the Phoenix Run car, the Castrol Edge car, looks as though its race is run. There in the meantime is number 98 Porsche, which was delayed earlier on in the race. Jackie Young has now taken over the wheel of that car. So the race order is the 777 bright yellow Lamborghini, as ever it was, leading the way, which is Yokomitsu at the wheel of it now. Second, we're being shown 88 Porsche of Devon Modell. Third is 66 Lamborghini of Sandy Stuvik. In 4th place there is the Audi of Davide Rizzo. 5th is 888 Jules Shimkowiak. And 6th is 28 Kota Sasaki. 7th now number 1 Aiden Reed Lamborghini. 8th is number 3 Yuya Sakamoto's Porsche. In 9th place number 47 Saiji Ara. And 10th is 999 Maximilian Buch. And Yokomitsu's times in the lead. His last lap was a 1:43.5. That's better than most, if not everybody, in fact, at the moment. So this car looking very strong indeed. The Kai Cozzolino race day continues. He's had 1 win in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Is another win coming up. Let's see as he heads now towards the timing line. Sprints past the pits. Makes his way through and then blasts down towards the first corner, the first hairpin. So as Yokomitsu has the advantage, a very, very good first stint down by Kai Cozzolino, who's in the pit lane, watching his co-driver hard at work, and Kai Cozzolino is ready to have a word with Renai Matu about his first stint behind the wheel.
Okay, Kay, great stuff. I mean, you must be very happy with that.
What did I tell you, Renee? I put it all in the start. I knew it because, you know, with these GT3 cars, if you have a car in front of you, you don't get the downforce you need, and then you lose grip. So I just put everything in the start. I knew it. If I had a clear lap, I could just pull it off, and I did it. So I think we got the fastest lap too. We have 20 minutes left. We're still leading, so my teammate is doing a great job right now. Towards the end of the set, my stint though, I had a slow tire puncture because I think there was a little collision in the start. And then I had to pit in before that I was supposed to, but we changed all 4 tires, used tires, and I think we can finish the race, yeah.
Managing to avoid all of that chaos behind you, way in front. Yeah. Good luck with the rest of the race.
Thank you very much.
Back to you in commentary.
Thanks, Renat. Interesting that the slow puncture was there and they had to put a new set of tyres on, or a different set of tyres, as Cacosolino says, they're a used set. So we've seen other teams putting fresh rubber on. Is that going to hurt late in the race? Well, the gap now is 6.3 seconds over Devon Modell. Modell, in turn, is managing to maintain the advantage over Sandy Stuvik. To be fair to him, I was anticipating he might get swamped, but he's not. He's hanging on to a good second spot. In GT4, this is the Porsche battle. This is for third, fourth and fifth, where you've got at the moment the car number 17 of Jeremy Wang keeping at bay Ringo Chong, who in turn is keeping at bay Eric Lowe. The one car that we've not really seen very much of is the Frank Yu Jean-Marc Merlin Craft Bamboo racing car, which has taken 3 wins already this year. 89 dives up the inside to gain a place, so Ringo Chong passes there on the inside. That puts Jeremy Wang down a spot, and Wang now has got Eric Lowe chasing after him as well, trying to find a way through in the blue and grey car. They're also trying to be avoided by the recovering number 19 Audi that's quite a long way down the order after its puncture earlier on in the race. So number 19 hustles on, gaining places now because he's got a lap back, and therefore number 19 Audi gains track position there. That's the car that's now got Takayuka Shirasaku at the wheel. So 18 minutes to go, the lead gap remaining at 6 seconds. Where is the change going to come from? Joachim Kowiak is perhaps the man most likely to, but don't rule out Maximilian Buch. He, by the way, just to contradict Kai Cozzolino, it is Maxi Buch who's got the fastest lap of the race. So for the moment, the Mercedes, the car to beat there. You don't get any points, though, for the fastest lap, just pride. It's any points in the top 10. There's 86 then, which is now Mitch Gilbert running in 12th place. Gilbert having taken over from Aditya Patel. Behind is Sean Walkinshaw having his first outing in the BMW, as the rest of the pack pours down towards first. That first right-hander, the blue flag being waved to say that there are quicker cars behind, be careful. And one of those much quicker cars is the race leader. So through comes Yokomitsu. There is the Lamborghini that goes by now, and the advantage actually is down a little bit to Devon Modell. 5.6 seconds on that lap. So 777, the car guy racing Lamborghini. Kai Cozzolino having done one stint in the circuit he knows well, now watching his co-driver hard at work, and pushing on all the while here is Naoki Yokomitsu, who, like his co-driver, has raced Formula 3 at Macau. He's racing the Japanese Championship, has been a regular in Super GT and also in Formula Nippon before coming into the Asian Le Mans Series and now into a GT3 campaign. So it's been a very successful baptism for the pair of them. And there in second place is 88 Devon Modell. Now number 77, which is the Jean-Marc Merlin GT4 leading car in GT4, that is under investigation for a pit stop infringement. So the GT4 leader is under investigation at the moment. There's 88 Porsche, Devon Modell at the wheel. Nick Foster did a very good first stint, and he's in the pit lane. Let's hear from him about what kicked off at the very start of the race, because of course Nick Foster got squeezed out at turn 1.
Okay, here in the pit lane with Nick. Nick, are you happy with how things went at the start?
Yeah, not particularly, to be honest. So pole in qualifying, which was super. Team Craft Bamboo's done a mega job, so we had a super quick car. Not really sure what happened to the first corner. I think it was the Audi that started P2, just slammed into the side of me and threw us back, I don't know, something like 10 positions or something. So that's, I mean, considering our car pace is super, super frustrating, you know, really uncalled for. But anyway, we got going again. Car's super quick. I think I got back up to third by the time we pitted. So Dev's in the car now, and I think he's quicker than the leader at the moment. So maybe we still have a chance, but, you know, we shouldn't be chasing the leader. We should be 10 seconds down the road. So I'm pretty pissed off.
Well, considering how things went at the beginning, we're pretty lucky to be at second, no?
Yeah, so far lucky, but still should have happened, so devastated.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. Cheers. Back to you in commentary, David.
Thanks, Renai. So Nick Foster is frustrated. Apologies for the easy language, but you can understand his frustration. And he's right about Devon Modell closing on the race leader. 5.3 seconds it is now. It's come down from 6. So Devon Modell, who didn't really shine in qualifying, he's doing a very good job indeed here. Devon has done a lot of racing in lots of random championships over the years, having come from karts into Clios. He's driven for the Cheshire-based Speedworks team, the 24-hour series. He's done a bit of Blancpain Endurance, a bit of Asian Le Mans, a bit of the UK LMP3 Cup, V2V, Fun Cup, Lamborghini Super Trofeo Middle East. So he's done all sorts of different things, but if he could win this, arguably the biggest win of his career. And it is possible because the gap is coming down. In the first sector, though, he's a little bit slower. In the second sector, he's a good bit quicker. The leader possibly getting stuck in traffic as their number 5, which is Sean Tong, goes through. He's also got a lot of work to do. He is down now in 18th place. I hesitate because we've just had news of a pit stop infringement for the GT4 leader. Jean-Marc Merlin has a pit stop infringement, stop and go penalty of 1 second. That's all they were short. But if you're short, you're short. And so Jean-Marc Merlin has to have a stop-go penalty of 1 second. Now, the 1 second isn't the end of the world, but it's the drive time in and out that's the real killer, given how long the pit straight is, and you've got to do it at 60 miles an hour. So, bad news, and the team manager of that car is also being told to report to race control. So Jean-Marc Merlin gets this stop-and-go penalty, and that's going to change the lead of GT4. It's also a little bit surprising that the McLaren wasn't leading anyway, but perhaps now you know the answer. So the situation is going to change in GT4, back in favour of the McLaren, which had to do a longer pit stop anyway as a first-time entrant. 13 more minutes of the race remain. And the other driver that's pushing is Maximilian Buch now, up into 6th place as you look at number 5, Sean Tong here. Tong is in 18th spot as he comes up, crosses the line. And look at this, you've got cars all over the place, including Davide Rizzo in 37. There is Joachim Kowiak's Mercedes getting through the traffic. Further up the road is Maxi Buch. Further up the road also, having just lost a place, is Sasaki. And Buch gets boxed in behind Ringo Chong there, goes to the outside line, tries to get past the Audi if he can. Can't quite make it stick. Sasaki runs way wide off the road and back on again up towards Panasonic. Here comes Buch up the inside line. Through he goes. Very decisive move, and Maximilian Buch, all the while here, gaining points for Hunter Abbott in the championship, goes through and gains a place. There is Hunter Abbott looking on, and he'll be pleased with that for sure, because that is, as I say, another place and more points gained for the championship leader. He's got this stellar roster of co-drivers this year. Raffaele Marciello, Maxi Goetz, Maxi Buch, and can Maxi Buch get any higher up the order? I don't think another win is on the cards, but he's certainly gaining places here. So here are the cars fighting for 4th, 5th and 6th. Up front, the gap 5 seconds, so it came down fractionally last time between Yokomitsu and Devon Modell, but when he's got a clear road, Maxi Buch is able to lap faster. He has done the fastest lap of the race, but he's 15 seconds back. He needs lots and lots of clear space ahead of him and lots of back markers ahead of the leaders to stand a realistic chance, and that, I fear, is not going to come. Gripper squad looks on as downhill comes Maxi Buch. Then he's getting away from Kota Sasaki. Now it's Joachim Kowiak's turn to line up and have a go against Anthony Liu here as they come into the right, left, right sequence through Dunlop into turns 11 and 12. There is Joachim Kowiak, the Rupper M Mercedes, then now running in 7th spot. Kowiak, the teammate in Formula 3 of Max Verstappen, who got all the attention that year. 77 then, this is Jean-Marc Merlin down the pits to serve the stop-go penalty and to lose the lead of GT4 as well. Here is Kowiak closing up onto the back of Davide Rizzo then. Sasaki goes through, he got himself up into 5th, 6th then is Rizzo, Kowiak 7th. And the lead gap is coming down. Yokomitsu to Buch 4th is 13.6 seconds and 10 minutes to go. I don't think it can change, but it is interesting to see how it's closing. Kota Sasaki then in the red Ferrari heading down the hill. Davide Rizzo is another experienced driver, and he's done a lot of his racing in this part of the world. So he too knows what he's doing. And Davide Rizzo then, who was third with Anthony Liu in the GT Asia Championship last year, keeping Kvyat at bay. Kvyat, though, looking rather irresistible here, isn't he? The way that he's caught up, the way that he's going, suggests that a move is imminent. They climb the hill now towards Panasonic very shortly at the end of the lap. But first of all, there's the run through Dunlop, and then that little sequence of tight corners to go. Kota Sasaki getting away, making the best of the battle behind him here to try and build up a cushion. There is the 75 Ferrari from the T2 Motorsports team of David Tobiantaro, regular in GT Asia and the Sepang 12 hours in recent years. 9 more minutes are on the clock, and Maximilian Buch has done another absolute best in the middle sector. So Buch is charging once again. You're looking at Tobiantaro, who's in 20th place. He's part of the Pro-Am contingent. Pro-Am being led by Buch and Hunter Abbott at the moment, in fact. So there's the overall race leader, and the Lamborghini of Naoki Yokomitsu with 8.5 minutes to go heads into turn 2, and then in a moment into the left at Coca-Cola. Devon Modell busy flashing the lights to try and wall the traffic of his progress, because he's getting on with the job very effectively here. The gap hovers around the 5-second mark. Maximilian Buch last time did a 42.0, so he's lapping quicker than anybody ahead of him. That's nearly 2 seconds quicker than the leader. Maxi Buch is able to lap when the road is clear. He's just done the absolute best within the first sector, so makes you wonder if the race were an hour and 10 minutes, what he could be able to do. But for the moment, might be able to get on the podium. He's certainly closing on Sandy Stuvik. You're looking at the second place car, which is 88 Devon Modell. But won't be long, I reckon, before Buch is on the back of the 66 Lamborghini for third spot. At Clearwater, they've just inherited the GT4 lead, so happy people at Clearwater Racing, with the Mclaren now being driven by Mok Wang Sun. So as the race leaders work lap 29, up towards the end of it comes the Lamborghini. Through goes the car with Nick Yukamitsu at the wheel of it, and the one to watch still is going to be Maxi Buch in the background. Fastest lap of the race set by Buch, and is he going to be able to get any closer before the end? 7 minutes to go. Have a look back. Through will come Devon Modell, 4.4 seconds back. That's the closest that margin has been. Are the tyres going off on Yukamitsu's car now? Where is third? It is now Maxi Buch. The change has happened. So there is the 999 Mercedes about to lap the McLaren, the GT4 leading car. So 999 now is the one to watch. Can Maxi Buch get up with the 2 race leaders with 6 minutes and 38 seconds to go? He's going to give it a red hot go, isn't he? That's for sure. So the German driver pushing on. His last lap was over a second faster than that of the leader. He's got to make up 10.5 to win. But the trouble is, he's got to get past the second place car in the process. If Devon Modell defends, and defends effectively, that would scupper the chance Buch might have of a race win. But the other question mark still remains over the tyres then of the Lamborghini. If it's a used set, are they going to have the longevity? They should have, I would have thought, for half of the race. Hunter Abbott there with the overalls down, watching his teammate, looking at the lap times, looking at the sector times, and seeing on this lap, in fact, Buch losing out slightly to Modell. Within the first sector, within the second sector, he takes 4/10 out of him. So Maximilian Buch, here is the gun for hire and delivering in style. Hunter Abbott is no slouch either. Although they run in the AM category, Hunter has done many a mile. Radicals, Ginettas, British GT, British touring cars. And although he hates it being mentioned, I'm sure, he had a rather spectacular accident at Alton Park in British GT and at Snetterton in touring cars in the Power Mac Chevrolet last year. But in GT racing this year, he's showing people exactly what he's able to do and delivering in style. Here is Maxi Buch, the number 999 Mercedes, over the timing line. There's the leading Lamborghini, and the gap is down again between the top two, 3.6 seconds. Devon Modell having a really good go at this. Can he get there in time? Maxi Buch is 9.3 seconds off the race lead. If the two leaders get together and hold each other up, that's going to give him a chance as well, isn't it? So we're not done yet, that's for sure. In GT4 there, the Porsches, the Caymans, or Cayman, being swatted aside by the BMW, which looks enormous compared to the bullet-shaped Caymans, doesn't it? So through goes 91 Sean Walkinshaw, and the battle between the Porsches then is for second in class here. Number 10 is Eric Lowe, 77 is the penalised Jean-Marc Merlin, back out again after his stop-go. So he's lost the lead and he's lost second, but can he get back into second spot? Jean-Marc Merlin, number 77, former historic racer, lives in Asia these days, the French driver, and now concentrating on modern GT racing. These are absolutely the right sort of car for the amateur racer, the less experienced racer. They're powerful, but not too powerful. And nearest to us, then, Jean-Marc Merlin lines up to have a go at the car of Eric Lowe. And is he going to be able to go through? Not quite on the run down towards first, the hairpin. He tries again, wide in and tight out. But while they're battling like this, Merlin has been caught by Ringo Chong. That's the GT3 shaped Porsche 911, which is now Darrell O'Young at the wheel of 99, and that's in 11th place. And the other Porsche fight going on, Seiji Ara on the back of Yuya Sakamoto now. So Aidan Reed, the Australian driver, just up the road ahead of the number 1. Then you've got, as I say, Sakamoto and Ara about to work their way up towards the timing line. 3.5 minutes to go. Lead gap's down again. It's down to 2.9 seconds. It's going to be close, this. It's 7.5 seconds first to third as Devon Modell chips and chips and chips away. And had they not lost all that ground early on, as Nick Foster said in the interview, it could be a whole different story altogether. Over the line have gone the top 10 with Darrell O'Young's Porsche there in the background, 11th. The Ferrari just going out of shot is 20th with David Chiptobiantero. And there's the GT4 leading McLaren, the 570S. It's now got Mok Wang Sun at the wheel of it. And the Sunseeker backed car looking very striking indeed. Clearwater has always done good, spectacular colour schemes. The silver GT3 McLaren that we saw back briefly at the start of the year was another one. And what's going to be interesting is to see how many of these teams come and do the Sepang 12 hours at the end of the season. It's not part of the GT Asia Championship, but the car's being based here and it's another SRO run race. One would hope that it's going to be a very competitive entry this year. Porsche talking about some more factory support for private teams, not bringing Manthey, but it's going to be a competitive race. But equally, this too has proved to be a competitive fight, and GT4, the pendulum for successors, swung both ways. Porsche, McLaren, back to Porsche, and now back to McLaren. So Mok Wang Sun leading. Jean-Marc Merlin is second, but 46 seconds adrift now, so he's lost his chance. And Sasaki has got a problem in the Ferrari. That car was fifth, and it's got a puncture by the look of it. The number 28 Ferrari limping up the hill. So the order shuffles again. What's the lead gap going to be with time enough for 2 more laps to run? Yokomitsu goes through 2.9 seconds ahead. The gap stabilises this time, and Maximilian Buch is 5.5 seconds back from the race leader. So it's 2.9 and 2.5. Now, Buch is closer to Modell than Modell is to Yokomitsu, and I reckon they've got time for 1 more lap at the end of this. Sean Tong is still pressing on number 5 in the Audi there, weaving his way in and out the Caymans. And Sean Tong running still down in 18th place. So the leaders are on lap 33, and as I say, there should be time for 1 more at the end of this. There is the leading car, and it's now got a back marker, 2 back markers in fact between it and Devon Modell's Porsche. So the leader not losing out of the traffic here. Good use of the back markers by Naoki Yokomitsu as they're watching on. It's Keiko Solino. Looks at this car, which he was behind the wheel of for the first half of the race, and now he's had to sit and watch. He's well versed in that, given the amount of endurance racing and 2-driver races that he does. Maximilian Buch still pushing on to close onto the back of Devon Modell. Are we going to see that battle come alive on the last lap? It's almost there, isn't it? The Lamborghini, which has been able to reduce its pace and perhaps look after the rubber, comes up now toward Panasonic into the hairpin. Up towards the timing line comes Treble 7, and onto the last lap of the race then will come for a first Blancpain GT Series Asia win, seemingly, Naoki Yokomitsu. He's got, as I say, a lap to run as he comes through now to start the final lap. Now look in the background, where is Devon Modell, where is Maximilian Buch? They're nose to tail, they come over the timing line together, and are we going to see a dive made at the first corner? The final lap board is shown to everybody as they come across the line. and it is Porsche versus Mercedes down towards turn 1, but Devon Modell will be able to hang on to it, I think. Where's the Porsche? Is it still there? Yes, it is, because Maximilian Bruck got caught up behind the Aston Martin there, just briefly going into the corner. We've had a change for 7th place as well. Sakamoto's Porsche is ahead of Aidan Reid's Lamborghini. There is Maximilian Bruck. He's got one more lap in which to get up onto the back of and then get past Devon Modell. It's going to be close, but it's not going to be easy, that is for sure. Maximilian Bruck pushes on, inching up onto the back of Modell, but he was a little bit down in the first sector, so he's running out of options, running out of time. As set for the race win, it's going to be Keiko Solino and Naoki Yokomitsu. Here is the car guy Lamborghini. A very impressive drive by both of them, by Cozzolino to put the car into the lead at the start of the race, and then by Yokomitsu to bring it home. 2 corners to go. Turns now through nets, climbs the hill. 1 corner to go into Panasonic. Turn 16 awaits, and then the run up towards the line. Behind, the gap is coming down for 2nd place. Can the Mercedes get a good run out of the hairpin? Look how close they are. They've all bunched up, but just with enough of a margin. It's going to be the Lamborghini to win as up towards the timing line comes Naoki Yokomitsu along with Keiko Solino to win round 7 of the Blancpain GT Series Asia. A delighted team cheers home the car. It's a win then for 777 Lamborghini. 2nd is Devon Modell, only just, with Maxi Bruck finishing in 3rd. And then 4th will go the way of number 66 Lamborghini, Sandy Stuvik. 5th should be Jules Szymkowiak. And then for 6th place, number 37, lights are flashing in the background of Rizzo. Sakamoto is 8th, Saijiara is 9th. And then it's going to be Aidan Reid and Darrell O'Young next through. So drama all the way through, lots of different battles going on, and an excellent drive by Yokomitsu. The BMWs have got themselves together. Is this unofficial Formula BMW? This is the 13th place, and intriguingly, the 2 drivers involved, Sean Walkinshaw and Shinichi Takagi, of course, are co-drivers. They drive with one another in Super GT. Now they're going toe-to-toe in Blancpain GT Series Asia. And here they come, almost side by side up towards the line. Keiko Solino just being congratulated on his win. Sasaki limps into the pit lane rather than taking the flag on the track. And who wins the Formula BMW battle? Is it Walkinshaw or Takagi? It is Takagi on the line by 45 thousandths of a second. He gets ahead of Sean Walkinshaw. So a great little fight between the 2 of them, and there's definitely pride at stake there for each to show the other who was the top driver, but it is Takagi that comes out on top. So a very, very happy Keiko Solino celebrates, and understandably so. The car guy team takes the win, and what a day he's had. A win in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia race, and now a win in Blancpain GT Series Asia. And tomorrow, another day and 2 more races for him. So the winning drivers will return in a few moments to the pit lane. Pro-Am, incidentally, won by 999, the Mercedes of Hunter Abbott and Maxi Bruck. 2nd in Pro-Am, 37 of Anthony Liu and David Rizzo. And then the 3rd Pro-Am car was 47 of Saiji Ara and Satoshi Hoshino. The winning AM combination was Andrew Harrianto on his own. The 2nd of the AMs was the number 75 Gregory Tio and David Chiptobiantaro Ferrari, and then 3rd was number 2 of Zhu Zhongzhan and Lin Yu. And then just to confirm what happened as the winning Lamborghini arrives, to the delight of Keiko Solino, GT4 was won by the number 12 McLaren and Motwang's son of Richard Wee from Jean-Marc Merlin and his co-driver Frank Yu. And then the 3rd of the GT4 cars was the number 10 Porsche of Byron Tong and Eric Lowe. Well, not sure anybody anticipated necessarily that Clear Guy was going to be a winner, nor almost a runaway winner, but what a great job done. Keiko Solino and Naoki Yokomitsu take the win. In the background is Benjamin Franasovici, the championship manager. And as happy drivers embrace, the regulation winners' Pirelli caps are handed over. And it smiles all round, isn't it? Understandably so. Devon Modell, a great drive by Devon, that. Held my hands up. I was expecting him to get swamped by the pack behind, but he didn't. He managed to hang on to second place and did bring the gap down. He was 1.4 seconds away at the end of the race. And then for third, Maxi Buch and Hunter Abbott. Another excellent display. So, you can see the delight on the face of Keiko Salino. Up in the air. Being number one. And a race win to add to his Lamborghini success of earlier on in the day. So the drivers very shortly will make their way up towards the podium. Then we'll get the 4 podium ceremonies that we have in the championship underway. So the winners are there, and Kei Cozzolino is along with Naoki Yokomitsu as the race winners. Renai Matu is there with 2 very happy drivers, Renai.
Some very happy drivers. What was that? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Kay, it must be your lucky day, seriously.
We won! Number 1! That's all I have to say.
Well, it's the first time the Lamborghini's been on the podium.
Yes, first time. You know what? I know it's Lamborghini first time, but it's all thanks to him. He is the car guy, the owner. He believed in us.
Yeah.
He made us, we practiced a lot because of him. So really, we were so prepared. It's all thanks to him, Mr. Kimura.
More practice, machine trouble, more practice.
We will practice more.
But very, very fast, drive up very, very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, fast drives. Congratulations. Enjoy that win.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Keiko Cozzolino becoming a real character, isn't he? And when the wins come, it's easy to understand why. He will make his way shortly up to the podium, along with a very happy co-driver in Naoki Yokomitsu. And yes, Car Guy Racing is a local team and putting its experience to good use, but to come and win in an arena as tough as this is not easy. And so an excellent job done by the Japanese team. So the second place team are there. Nick Foster, we heard from during the race, and Devon Modell ending up just 1.4 seconds adrift. A great job done by the Australian and the Brit, Nick Foster and Devon Modell, and they are both with Renai.
Okay, Devon, nice to be coming across the line.
Yeah, it was tough trying to catch the car in front. Nick did a good job after unfortunate incident at the start. It was just trying to catch the car in front and not get caught from behind. It was tough.
You had to work for it today. Now, I know you started at the front.
Yeah, I know. We started pole. Look, to be honest, we should have won the race, but whatever happened at the first corner was disappointing. But it was a good recovery drive. You know, managed to squeeze back onto the podium by the time we pitted, and Dev did a mega job. You know, a few more laps and he might have caught him. A few more laps and Maxi might have got him. So it's a super end to the race. And yeah, the team's done a really good job. Craft Bamboo cars mega fast. So we just have another crack in the next one, really.
Okay. Congratulations. Back to you in commentary.
Thanks, Renai. A job well done by Devon Modell and Nick Foster. And Nick makes the point that they should have won that race. Well, the evidence would be, yes, with the pace that the car had, they should have done. But that skirmish, we'll have a look in the highlights, I'm sure, at what did happen at turn 1, because there was a rather crowded house and Nick Foster forced out wide, so there was damage, potentially. There was also a little bit of the grass and the air intake at the front of the splitter. But what about third place? Maxi Buch and Hunter Abbott, the championship leader, banks more points. Renai.
Okay, third place, Maxi. Come on, you got to be happy with that.
Yeah, sure, because we had the 10-second time penalty after the win from Suzuka, so we dropped quite down the order, and then we had a good recovery, I think, in the second stint. Hunter did an amazing start, and yeah, tomorrow we will see. I think we have the pace in the car to maybe win the race tomorrow, but yeah.
Looking good. You got to be happy with that. Come on, Hunter.
I think Maxi's making an understatement. That was a phenomenal drive, really, really good. Second clear of anybody, and coming through the field like, you know, every time he got to the back of a car, it's bang, straight past him. Awesome, unbelievable.
Tough races. Congratulations. Enjoy that, and we'll see you tomorrow. Back to you in commentary, David.
Thanks, Renai. Yep, good to hear from Hunter Abbott, and he underlines the commitment of his co-driver. So Maximilian Buch, the gun for hire, the Mercedes Pro driver, and Hunter Abbott, although he's deemed the AM, he's a very quick AM, I promise you. So it is a win for Naoki Yokomitsu and Keiko Zolino from Devon Modell and Nick Foster, with Maxi Buch and Hunter Abbott third. Sandy Stuvik and Martin Kodrich bagged fourth, ahead of Jules Szymkowiak and Tim Sugden, David Rizzo and Anthony Liu sixth. Then Yuya Sakamoto and Naoya Yamano take seventh, ahead of Saijiara in Porsche number 47 with Satoshi Hoshino. Behind them, Aidan Reid and Alberto Di Folco, with Daryl O'Young and Peter Lee rounding out the top 10, ahead of Mitch Gilbert and Aditya Patel, with 12th Alessio Picariello and Jeffrey Lee in the Audi. 13th goes the way of the number 90 BMW of the Super GT racer Shinichi Takagi, sharing with Yunsan Chen, Sean Walkinshaw and Jesse Krohn next, ahead of soloist Andrea Harrianto, who wins the AM class. Then it was the number 13 Milestone Racing Audi of Sun Jingzhu and Frankie Cheng. And have a look further down, because after the GT4 winning Mclaren, which came home in 23rd place, the Porsche contingent through 24th, 25th, 26th, finally a different brand wins in GT4. And the Porsches have just had a wake-up call. It was a busy hour, and let's then have a look at the highlights of round 7. A busy grid, all formed, all ready to go in the Fuji sunshine. 34 cars, the biggest grid we've had. There was an extra formation lap, and when the race did get underway, blast off down towards the first corner. And this was a very important part of the race indeed, because they went 3 wide into the first turn, and Nick Foster was forced out wide. The Ferrari in the hands of Bruno Mastronardi also picked up some damage, and it was Marchi Lee on the inside that kind of shouldered them all off wide. Amazingly, despite going through a water splash, effectively Nick Foster, despite losing places, didn't seem to pick up any real damage, and so he regrouped and carved his way back into the mix, as at the end of the opening lap, Hunter Abbott ran out of road and went wide. He too was able to regroup and gain some places as the race wore on. But a spin on the opening lap for Aditya Patel meant everybody had to scatter around him in avoidance, and it also dropped that car down the order and out of contention. 7-7-7, the race leader. And that wasn't quite the story over, but it was never headed, as up the inside dive the number 28 Ferrari to go ahead of Hunter Abbott. But the car out braked itself, and so Hiroki Nagai held down the order once again. When the pit stop came, they came thick and fast at Group M, with both cars arriving at the same time. Maxi Buch taking over in 999 and 888 going the way of Jules Szymkowiak, and that car would ultimately finish in 5th place. In treble 7, the car handed over from Keiko Zolino to Yokomitsu. The gap came down, it was being caught, but with the squabbles going on behind, it remained treble 7 out front as David Rizzo, Jules Szymkowiak and Kota Sasaki all fought, with Sasaki being run out wide. Maxi Buch dived up the inside as well. He sorted out the Anthony Liu Audi, gained a place as the number 90 BMW hustled on now in the hands of Takagi. Late race, the gaps were coming down between the top 3, and starting the last lap, it was just over 2 seconds covering the leading 3. They got past the Aston Martin and up to the checkered flag with a margin of 1.4 seconds was the Lamborghini of Cozzolino and Yokomitsu to win, from Modell and Foster, and then Buch and Abbott third. In GT4, a maiden debut win for the Mclaren in Blancpain GT Asia, as Mok Weng Sun and Richard Wee scored category honours. But a delighted Keiko Zolino celebrated with an equally delighted Naoki Yokomitsu. We're ready for the podium here at Fuji.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of Race 1, Blancpain GT Series Asia at Fuji Speedway. We will start the ceremony with the overall winners. Welcome, please, with applause in third place, car 999, Hunter Abbott and Maxi Buch. In second place, in car number 88, Kevin Rono and Nick Foster. And your winners in first place in car number 7.
Hunter Abbott and Maxi Buch are there. Devon Modell and Nick Foster are on the second step. And out leap 2 happy Lamborghini drivers. Keiko Zolino and Naoki Yokomitsu win round 7 of the Blancpain GT Series Asia, part of the Fuji Champion Race Series weekend here. The trophy is handed over by Pirelli, and it is Ken Gokita from Pirelli Tyres who will present the trophies to Maxi and Hunter, then to Devon Modell, the British driver, and Nick Foster, the Australian. So 2 Brits on the podium. And then Keiko Zolino and Naoki Yokomitsu as the race winners. For the drivers and the teams that take part in the full season, there are cheques to be presented. $2,500 for third, $5,000 for second, and Stefan Rattel is the man who has been handing over the money. And so now the drivers have the champagne at their feet. And is Keiko Zolino going to spray, or is he going to save and drink? Oh no, he's going to spray, because he is a very happy man indeed. An absolutely faultless display, not a wheel wrong by Zolino, nor his co-driver Naoki Yokomitsu. And as the podium is now dressed, ready for Pro-Am, the happy drivers will make their way off to the press conference very shortly indeed. So now it is the Pro-Am ceremony, a Class 1 by 999, the Mercedes of Hunter Abbott and Maxi Book, so they'll be back on the podium. We've just seen them, but they'll be back out, ready for Pro-Am.
In the GT3 Pro-Am ceremony, we welcome with applause in car number 47 in third place, Satoshi Kushuri and Seiji Ara.
An excellent race won by the Lamborghini here in round 7 at Fuji.
In second place, in car number 37, Anthony Liu and Davide Rizzo. And your winners in car number 999, Hunter Abbott and Maxi Book. We are glad to invite
So the race won by the Lamborghini, the Car Guy Racing Team victorious. A great race we've had here at the Fuji Speedway, and there's more of the same to look forward to tomorrow, because round 8 of the Blancpain GT Series Asia will be on track then, and we look forward to what promises to be another tremendous hour of racing. For now though, from Fuji, from Renai Matu and David Addison, thanks for your company. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye for now. So we've had the Pro-Am podium done. Hunter Abbott, Maxi Boot, the winners from Davide Rizzo and Anthony Liu. And then third in the class, Seiji Ara and his co-driver in the Porsche, which was Satoshi Hoshino. GT3 AM will be next. You can also vote on Facebook at Blancpain GT Series Asia for the Motul Top Shot. And the action that we've had, delivering some great images from Fuji, and go to the Blancpain GT Series Asia Facebook page and have a look and offer your opinion as well. For third place in GT3 AM come Zhu Zhongzhan and Lin Yu. Out for second place, Gregor Tio and David Chipto Biantaro. And the winner, because it's just the one driver in the AM class, is Andrew Harrianto, who again has had to do the whole hour on his own. No co-driver, but he comes through victorious and scores a category win. Trophies are presented first by Ken Gokita from Pirelli Tyres. Then they will all huddle together for the photograph. And what a drive, again, by Andrew Harrianto, who is the man to beat, really, in the AMs at the moment. And doesn't seem to feel the need for a co-driver, does he? He just gets on with life. And he also has been out earlier on in the day because he did the Lamborghini race as well, just like Keiko Zolino, that we've been talking about in the context of being the overall winner. And Andrew flees the podium. He's not into all this getting soaked by champagne malarkey. He's off. So that means instead that Zhu Zhu Zhengzhan and Lin Yu can soak Greg Teo and David Chiptop Biantaro. And Andrew Harrianto fights back. They all thought he'd gone, but no. He sneaks back, soaks the FFF racing team by ACM drivers, and now with another victory under his belt, makes his way off the podium. And that leaves us with just one more, and that's for the GT4 drivers. And at last, something other than a Porsche takes a win. Podium introduction is completed with the music, and then the drivers will be called forward, where third in the class was the number 10 Porsche of Byron Tong and Eric Lowe. The second, Jean-Marc Merlin and Frank Yu after the penalty. And the win, of course, to the McLaren in the hands of Richard Wee and Mok Wang Sun. So the drivers there on the podium. You can see Byron Tong and Eric Lowe. In a moment, there will be Frank Yu, and there, with the beard, the Singapore-based French driver Jean-Marc Merlin. And Richard Wee and Mok Wang Sun make their way onto the top step of the podium. The last time Richard raced in the championship, he hurt himself and wrecked his car. Now he's back with a new car, a new category, a new challenge, a new co-driver, and most importantly of all, a winner's trophy. Ken Gokita from Pirelli hands over the trophies for third, for second. So second in GT3 and GT4 for Craft Bamboo Racing. And there, the winners, Mok Wang Sun and Richard Wee. So the drivers hold the trophies in the air, ready for photographs at the end of the GT4 podium, and Le Patron is here as well. Stefan Rattel hands over the checks to those that are racing and registered for the whole season. And Stefan, because he's a great enthusiast, I'm sure will be very pleased to see a different brand coming in and scoring success in the Blancpain GT Series Asia. So the drivers now all get together, and with photographs done, the champagne can be sprayed, but are they going to spray, are they going to save? They're going to save, aren't they? Because many of them are gentlemen racers, and they don't want to be too wet and soggy and smelly for the rest of the day. So, a great race, as ever. You can anticipate it in GT racing, and Blancpain GT Series Asia continues to go from strength to strength. Tomorrow, the cars will be on track just after 2 o'clock, and we look forward to another great race tomorrow. It'll be from a different grid, different pit stop penalties, and promises to be a great race. From David Addison, it's goodbye. Let's hear some last words from Renai.
Thank you, David. What an incredible day of racing here in Fuji Speedway. The weather was perfect and the driving was fantastic. Can't wait to do it all again, which is just tomorrow. Check listings for times in your area, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.